Hello, we're just about to complete Suffolk Coastal's local plan final draft stages, and this actually ends on the 25th of February, and to that end Walton Community Television put 6 questions, quite broad, to the Cabinet member on what impact this may have specifically actually to Walton and the wider Felixstowe Peninsula community. And the questions we asked were housing, the district needs versus Westminster requirements. 2 was, has the existing local plan addressed these local needs? 3, what is the rate of build and are the types of dwellings in some areas over provided? 4 was confirmation of security of local amenities, that was cow pasture allotments, the Grove and Eastwood Hoe Sports. Confirmation of the self-build provision within the scheme, because this was a requirement by central government about 3 years ago, and it was how will this be delivered. And then 5, we question whether the engagement with the community, that's you, as a whole, was as seamless and informative as it could have been, because this is the final document, an A3, folded, and it doesn't really tell you very much about what will be going where, supported by what. So have a look at the interview with the Cabinet member responsible for the local plan, and if there are any issues arising out of that that you would like more information on, we'll be glad to try to get it on your behalf. So sit back, enjoy, get a cup of tea, and we'll be updating this in the weeks to come. Good morning to you, young man.
Good morning to you,
young
man.
Well, it's relative, isn't it? Basically, we're sort of midway through the final consultation on the final plan, local plan for Suffolk Coastal. The last meeting was held at Saxmundham last Wednesday. The public could attend to.
Which I didn't attend. I apologise.
No, I did. I was a glutton for punishment and went to 2. Felixstowe and. Now the whole process finishes, I believe,
on my birthday, 25th of February.
So you're not likely not to forget that,
no,
then,
I
are you?
got that well and truly in mind.
So basically, on that particular day, the 25th, anybody who has any comments to make on the entirety of this plan or any other pertinent issues needs to get that to you here in Melton, is that right?
Well, that's one of the ways. What we're really talking about, of course, is not just comments, but a representation.
Oh, right.
A proper form filled in to say, because at this stage, we are looking at legal requirements and soundness. Have we gone through the process correctly? Because, as you can appreciate, and I think I said at the council meeting a few weeks back,
right,
we have to follow that government process exactly to the letter.
Yes.
Because if we don't, then we could be accused of corruption. We're either favouring the site owner or we're favouring the public. So these poor chaps here have to absolutely obey the rules precisely. If we haven't, then we will fail the test of soundness, and the government minister will check through to make certain we have done it. Likewise on that, it's very much up to the public to say, have these people done their job properly? Is this a sound plan?
Right.
Is it legally correct? And if they abide the consultations and all the other things which are listed in the document, have they followed the rules?
Okay.
And if we haven't, then the inspector will pull him up. And of course the inspector can listen to the public. And the way you do it, of course, is either fill the form in and send it in, or it's online.
Right. So one of those forms within the Felixstowe Peninsula area should be available to be collected or available from the library, or they can print it out.
Yes, they're in the library.
Would that be right?
Yes, they're in the library.
Good. Okay. We submitted.
From the town hall, of course.
Ah, right. There's a further option.
Yes.
Excellent. Now, we did propose a few questions to you before we set up this interview. The first one was housing, and it was the district needs versus Westminster's requirements.
Yes.
Now, there is a feeling in the land that this is rather more an imposed level of development on the authority rather than the authority itself reaching it relating to local needs. So can you dispel
Well, I can actually
that
say
particular
that over
concern?
the years we have tried very, very many ways of finding out what our actual needs are, from paying exorbitant sums to consultants to work it all out and working out on the professionals, and we've come up with a number of answers. But they have to say that a lot of those answers are not necessarily acceptable, and what we wanted, and this is one of the things we're setting on, what we want and what the government want is a set way of doing it across the country.
Right.
So
a standardisation.
A standardised method of calculating it, because it has been used very, very much by the developers and the question of 5-year building land supply. If they can challenge the number of houses that we think we need,
Yes.
they can then put in a claim for 5-year building land supply, and none of the policies on housing are then in place, so they can do what they like. So that's been the challenge. But what we've been pressing for is, can we please have a standard methodology for doing it across the country? And at last the government have come up with it, and it's a scheme that's based upon median house prices and median wages, to say how a district is going to develop, and that's what we have now got.
Right. So at the time, the Secretary of State allowed the development at Stennett's Farm.
Yeah.
That particular method of making that decision wasn't actually in place.
Was not there. It almost was. I won't say 2 weeks later, but very shortly afterwards, the
became a standard system.
Put this standard system in.
Right. Okay.
Which, of course, we were not particularly happy with, because if you'd done it a month or so earlier,
you could have had some protection.
Yes. But that was the way that we got into this situation. Anyway.
So basically, that allowed the 460 dwellings plus other bits to be
that's right. We were going to
built
put an
on
extra bit
Stennett's Farm.
Yeah.
Okay.